Will Manso is the sports director at WPLG Local 10 here in Miami. You watch him on the Heat broadcasts on FanDuel Sports Network Sun as well. He is on the Toyota of Hollywood hotline. Will, you've had a couple days now to formulate thoughts on the Luka AD trade. So where are you on it now? Like, what are your initial thoughts, and what are your thoughts now a couple days later?
I mean, my initial thoughts were wholly blank. I mean, I think everybody else, I had left the Heat studio that night. The Heat had this dramatic win. Bam hits a buzzer beater. And as I'm driving, I get about 7 text messages. I'm thinking, oh, my God, Jimmy got traded. That's the only thing that could be. People are texting me at 11:30 at night. And it turns out it's the Luka deal. And I think like everybody else, I was in shock. I've had a couple of days like everybody to process it, but I still don't get it. I mean, the stories coming out of Dallas with the reasoning behind it and those insiders that have some sort of logic to it still, to me, defies logic. 25 years old, in his prime, led you to the finals last year, can do it all. I really, and by the way, seemed to love Dallas and had no inkling whatsoever, a desire to leave Dallas. I have no idea what the Mavericks were thinking.
But on the other side, we're trying to rationalize this too. We've been doing it all show. On the other side, if you want to get rid of, and I think there's more of a story, has to be, Will, to your point. But and you identify Anthony Davis as the guy that wins you the West and takes you to a championship, don't you just go get the prized possession in your mind if you're the GM?
You're saying the GM of Dallas or the GM of Dallas? I mean, if you think
Dallas, because they could have got way more somewhere else, but it was just a one-team conversation, which doesn't make sense. But what if they just said, I want Anthony Davis, I have to have Anthony Davis, let's move Luka?
I mean, if you're a general manager and you're that much in love with AD and that's your thing, I guess, and only time will tell if it was crazy to think that or not. But I think even if you want Anthony Davis, right, what are you rushing? What's the rush? I mean, Luka there was no inkling that he wanted to leave, so it wasn't like he was getting pressure from Luka. So if you're saying, hey, I want to win now. We were in the finals last year. We fell short. I don't want to give Luka the Supermax. Let's make something. I'd pick up the phone and call the 29 other teams. And I'd start just saying, hey, give me your best deal with players, picks, packages, whatever we can do. And I'm assuming that pretty much every NBA team is going to come up with a package for Luka, and you take the best one. So the fact that it happened that quickly and that they went for one player, again, a player who's been injury prone, a dominant player. AD's been amazing in his career when he's healthy, and I still think he can help you win. But just why the rush to get rid of a guy so quickly and to get pretty much the first deal you get to take him?
Will, where do you put Luka in terms of like the player he is compared to other superstars? Because we were talking about it earlier in the show, and my belief is that Luka at 25 years old, whether or not he has a couple beers every night or whatever, right? He was a couple calories over the intake the Mavericks wanted him to be at. I believe he's top 3, top 4 player in the NBA. I mean, like I put him up there. If we were redrafting right now as a GM, you're taking either Victor Wembanyama, you're taking either Giannis Antetokounmpo, Nikola Jokic, and then I throw Luka Doncic in that category. Like that's why I think we're all struggling to understand how they only got back 1 pick when Mikal Bridges got back 5 picks for the New York Knicks.
Yeah, I mean, it's 2 things there. First of all, on your list, absolutely. Wembanyama, Giannis, Jokic is where I would start. Shea, and then Luka. I mean, those are the guys I want, right? I mean, that's your list to me as far as productive. Giannis maybe a little older, but still a machine. But you look at the whole conditioning thing too. Like Luka, yeah, he's a little soft. I mean, but the best player in the world is too. I mean, Nikola Jokic isn't exactly going to be on Men's Fitness cover this month. So I don't understand what all of a sudden the issue is. I mean, their games aren't based on those things. It's a million other things they could do, and Luka can do it all. It's just, again, I don't think there's anybody that's going to rationalize it and make it make sense. The only thing that's going to make this deal make sense potentially is time. Because if it pays off for Dallas or if Luka has some sort of a regression or something, then maybe you could look back on it. But right away, there's no way to really defend it.
What does this mean for Jimmy Butler and the Heat? Does this mean there's less of a market for Jimmy if that's what the trades are for Luka and AD? Like you're seeing the upper echelon being moved, right? De'Aaron Fox. What does it mean for the trade market for Jimmy? And also I had ask Crowder and Solana because I was kind of perplexed. I was told the whole thing about Jimmy is money, 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 but apparently he will not sign an extension with Golden State, which would be money, money, money. So I'm a little confused as to what's going on.
Yeah, and again, and not only is it confusing, but it's like, okay, who's sending what messages from where? Because this is a time of misinformation and all kinds of information. It's not all going to be accurate because some of the information that you get from different sources that you read counters the other. So they can't all be true, right? So who is leaking what, where, and why? The bottom line is that Jimmy Butler clearly has a fixation with wanting to go to Phoenix. And it's been pretty clear in the only thing that's been very clear, I think, in the reporting out there from the national, from the beat and local angles from all these markets is that Phoenix is willing to give Jimmy that extension. So I think in Jimmy's mind, he's probably thinking that's the spot I want to go. If I can play with KD, go there. Remember, Jimmy's got a place out west. Not that, proximity to your home really matters, but I mean, that seems to be the spot. What we believe, I don't know, because I still think it did come down to money and respect and the extension. I go back to the same thing I've said for weeks now. If Pat Riley doesn't come out in the offseason, right before the season, and say, hey, Jimmy, play, you're not getting your extension, you've got your contract, basically shut up and play, and had given him a deal, none of this is happening. Jimmy's not, no matter where the Heat are, if they're mediocre, middle of the pack, playing well, playing poorly, you're not seeing this from Butler in my mind if he had that contract. So it still comes down to that in some way, shape, or form.
And is Jimmy good enough to have this resume? Because I know Jimmy can play ball. I question his offense. He's not an offensive guru. I've been saying that for years, but he can play basketball. But nasty exit from Minnesota, nasty exit from Chicago, now even nastier exit from Miami. Is he messing up his reputation in the NBA, or is he good enough to do whatever the hell he wants?
I don't think Jimmy cares, Channing. I think that's what it comes down to with Jimmy is I think Jimmy kind of, he doesn't really go with the conventional wisdom of like, hey, sure, show your strength and your power as a player and player empowerment. You got to kind of have a certain tact to it. And you've seen it with his agent too, with Bernie, who's been very vocal in social media and other aspects. I mean, there are ways to do this. De'Aaron Fox clearly wasn't going to be in Sacramento. His agent leaked out a little bit, hey, it was quiet. You didn't see any press releases or crazy comments or any kind of suspensions. And within a week, a deal got done. Now, it's a little different because, to your point, a guy like De'Aaron Fox is more valuable in the long term because he's younger and there's more to give there for an extended period of time. I think Jimmy sometimes probably overextends how much he could take this, but I really don't think he cares. I really think, and when I say he cares, I mean, he cares about playing, he cares about winning. I think Jimmy still wants to win a championship and go get a deal and be an impact player. I mean, care what anyone else has to say about him. He feels, I think, in this deal, in this situation, he's going to win out, that things are going to work out for the best. And all the other stuff, all the other noise, all the other stuff that comes out nationally, all the stuff that comes out locally, fans, media, I don't really think it's something that bothers him.
I wonder, though, if Crowder's right that he's kind of overplaying his hand here because
I think we can all agree. I think he is right. I think so.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, if he ends up in Phoenix, Crowder, he didn't overplay his hand, even though I will still say I think he's overplaying his hand. If he ends up going, I think probably there's part of him going, if Dame would have taken this approach, he'd be my teammate in Miami right now. And he probably gave a lot of crap to Dame for not taking that approach. And so this is what he's doing. He's like, no, I am going to end up in Phoenix. And again, if he does, I guess he didn't overplay his hand.
Yeah, and right, the end result will kind of tell us how this plays out because if he goes to Phoenix and he gets his max deal and he plays with KD and whatever way mechanism of making this move 3, 4, 5 teams, whatever works out. Now, there's also the flip side, guys, and I think this is the side that nobody wants to talk about, but we're getting closer and closer to that time because we're only a few days from the deadline. What if nothing does materialize? What if Jimmy Butler remains with the Miami Heat and he's going to opt in the next year? Are the Heat going to keep coming up with ways to suspend him? I don't think he's ever going to play in a Heat uniform again. But then again, I'll be honest with you guys. I admit when I'm wrong. I thought that the first suspension, when Jimmy first got suspended, I thought he's never going to play. After the comments and the Joy comments and all that stuff, I thought he's never going to play for the Heat again. He did for a few games, and he got suspended again, and he got suspended again. I still don't think he ever plays.
We lose Will there?
the standoff? How long does this drag? This has become a drama that's really unnecessary for both sides, but especially the Heat as they're trying to develop young guys and at least make some sort of push to the playoffs.
Where are you, Will? Just out of curiosity, because you dropped out there a little bit. You in the tunnel?
Yeah, I am. No, just almost arriving at the station. I said something really, really smart and good though when it dropped off. Just so you know.
It's unbelievable.
Really good. I'm almost impressed with myself. It was that good.
Yeah, we thought you were getting to that moment, and it hurt us all when you dropped out there for a second. What do you got for Sunday? Who do you got, KC or Philly?
Look, at the heart of me obviously takes KC because I'm a Giants fan and hates the Eagles. But, I mean, take that hat off and the bias of wanting to see the Eagles lose. How do you bet against Patrick Mahomes? You know, I mean, that they find a way, and everybody keeps thinking their demise is coming. They're going to slip, and here they are again in the Super Bowl. So simple answer is until somebody beats KC, which eventually will happen, I don't think it's now. I think KC wins a third in a row, and the storyline with Mahomes continues.
And we're because if Casey went third in a row, that's the first three. You know, we're not allowed to say three-peat. I think Pat Riley gonna.
You got to shoot him $20.
Sue me or something. Yeah, but everybody, Patrick Mahomes, he can't be better than Brady because Brady has this many rings. Patrick's gonna get him 6-7 rings. Like we know that. Can you say Patrick is better than Brady already, or we gotta go resume?
Oh man, that's a great because I think what Mahomes has done. I mean, it's hard. You got to go with the period of time, right? And Mahomes hasn't done it as long as Brady. So obviously Brady's going to have a little bit up on him as far as championships and stats. I think I go Mahomes over Brady because I've seen the Giants beat Brady twice. So he could be like twice. I go with Mahomes. There you go. That's where I go toward Mahomes. But both, I mean, you're talking 1-2, the greatest.
What are you doing Sunday? You're working, or you get to enjoy the game at all? I guess you got to do like the Sunday night face-off or something.
Yeah, I'll be working. I'll be watching the game like everybody else. I'll just be, enjoying and then, preparing whatever comes post Jimmy Butler with the Heat, because we're going to have a storyline. Well, the Super Bowl is Sunday. The lead on every local show outside of talking the Super Bowl is going to be what happened with Jimmy Butler and what happened with the Heat.
Well, what is the trade deadline? Is it Thursday? When's the trade deadline?
It's
I don't even know.
Yeah, Thursday, 3 or 4 p.m. Yeah, I can't remember if it's 3 or 4, but yeah, it's Thursday. So this is going to. That's why I said something is going to give in the next few days. We're all tired of this conversation. It's going to finally end, but it may not end. It may extend to like, holy crap, what goes on next? He's still in the Heat. What's going to happen?
Hey, Will, can you turn off analyst mode while watching the game? Because we watch you on halftime. We watch you out, post game. Like you have to watch the Heat to be able to talk about them in a minute when they say go. Can you watch the Super Bowl without like looking at it from an analyst standpoint and just enjoy a game?
Yeah, and you know why? Because I kind of check out. Like football, I love football. I mean, I love watching games. But once my team, either the team I love, the Giants, which was very early in the season, is out of it, or the Dolphins have no hope and I don't have to worry, there's going to be no covering and travel and things, I kind of check out of football mode. I just watch it as a fan. So I'll be watching, enjoying, having some pizza, having some wings, having a good time, and not worry about that angle of it. Just enjoy it as a fan.
Is Clay in the studio with you when you guys are enjoying the wings there? Because he likes the boneless wings famously, and I wonder if you overrule him because you're his boss.
We order boneless and regular wings just for everybody, just to because Clay, of course, he's got to do the boneless, so I got to do we order a big batch for everybody to have.
But you would never touch the boneless ones, right? That's for maybe Clay and the interns. No,
I like boneless wings.
What? Get out of here!
I like boneless wings. I do.
Over bone-in wings?
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say a good bone-in wing. No, absolutely. I love that. But sometimes it's just in the mood where I just want to grab a couple and just eat it and keep going with my day. I don't feel like, getting all sloppy and crazy. So I just grab it and eat it. That's fine. So I could do both. I'm fine. I'm not too picky as far as the selection when it's out there.
Interesting. Hey, Will, you want to get a rise out of Clay when you see him? Tell him he should have stopped the ball at the J Hoops tournament this weekend when Ava Crowder went coast to coast to win the game. 20 seconds left.
Oh, my God. Can I tell you something, guys? Let me tell you something. And Chaney probably knows this because he's seen him out of the court. Clay, we call him Coach Clay. Coach Clay is the nicest, sweetest guy in the world. Like, he really is a person who'll do anything for you. He's so friendly, great person, great dad and husband. When Coach Clay comes out, though, in the station, when he's cutting film, he's looking at film. Before Sunday night show, he's cutting video. And I'm thinking, oh, man, he must be really studying the Jimmy Butler trade. And I pass by, and it's like 8-year-olds playing. And he's got X's and O's. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Yeah, I don't understand. And that alone, that play will probably be dissected for the next week in his coaching sessions. How did you allow it to just go up the court like that? How do you know that will be the topic of conversation for the next week for Clay.
No lie. Hawk, Salama, I didn't text this to you. I wanted to tell all y'all. Clay was trying to get Ava teched because she was hard fouling his girls. He was playing against
I thought he was coaching Ava.
He got her in the league, but there's a draft. So another coach drafted Ava before he got a chance to draft her. So now he has to play against Ava. And he was telling the referee to throw a tech on Ava. And I'm watching like, Clay, you want him to throw a tech on Ava?
Good for him. Good for him. I like that. And so what? She went coast to coast and beat his team?
Yeah, 17-17, 20 seconds left. Got a rebound and hit it.
Oh, man. That's going to eat away Clay. I mean, we could have a whole segment on this. He breaks down film, and he'll see Heat drills when he goes to cover Heat, and he'll implement it with the girls. And it's amazing. And he'll implement, like, I saw this with the Heat. He's an intense coach. Coach Clay is intense.
They have a practice. Ava played for him last year. They have a practice schedule that's already set by the league. He'll text a WhatsApp thread with the parents. Hey, we'll just be here on Sunday if you want to show up and get some work in. Clay is intense about this coaching, man.
Open gyms.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Coach Clay, I'm telling you, he's got a little spo in him.
He's got to coach defense, too. Anybody can coach offense. He's going to let someone go coast to coast for the dub. I mean, spend a little time on defense, Clay.
Oh, man. That's going to cut Clay very deep.
You know who doesn't coach defense very well? Guys who eat boneless wings. You know who's a gritty, good defensive coach? Guys will gnaw some meat off the bone on a bone-in wing.
That's what it takes. That's what it takes. I'm going to let him know.
That's the scouting report on Ferrero. All right, there you go. Will Manso from Local 10. Thank you as always, Will.
Thanks, guys. Anytime.